I grew up jealous of a briefcase. It sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud now, but for 18 years that leather briefcase was my nemesis. It represented everything that took my mother away from me. It represented the important meetings, the late nights at the office, and the business trips that left me eating microwave dinners alone in our big, beautiful suburban house. I thought my mother was a cold, ambitious corporate shark. I thought she was a woman who was married to her job. She left the house every morning at 6 a.m. sharp, dressed in immaculate pencil skirts, silk blouses, and high heels, her hair sprayed into a perfect helmet of professionalism. She looked like a CEO, she walked like a CEO, and she spent money like a CEO. I went to a private school. I drove a brand new Jeep when I turned 16. I wore designer clothes. And whenever I complained that she missed my soccer games or that she wasn't there to help me with my homework, she would just sigh, tap her manicured fingernails on the steering wheel, and say, "Spencer, this lifestyle requires sacrifice. I do this for us. I do this so you can have the best." I hated that answer. I translated sacrifice to mean greed. I thought she was obsessed with status. I told myself that she bought me expensive things to buy off her guilt for being an absentee parent. I treated her like an ATM machine. I took the cash, I took the car, and I gave her the cold shoulder. When she died of a massive heart attack at the age of 52, I felt a wave of anger. I thought, see, the job killed her, the stress killed her. She chose the boardroom over her health, and now she is gone. I didn't cry when the hospital called. I was too busy being angry at her career. I decided to go to her office to collect her personal effects. I knew the building. It was a massive glass skyscraper downtown. She had worked for a huge investment firm called Vanguard Holdings. I had dropped her off there 100 times. I walked into the lobby wearing my best suit, ready to play the grieving son of the important executive. I walked up to the security desk. I said, "Hi, I am Spencer Davis. My mother is Alina Davis. She passed away yesterday. I am here to clear out her office." The security guard frowned. He typed her name into the computer. He typed it again. He looked up at me and said, "I am sorry, son. We don't have an Alina Davis in the directory." I laughed. I said, "That is impossible. She has worked here for 20 years. She is a senior VP. Check again." He turned the screen around. No Davis. I felt a cold prickle of fear on the back of my neck. I said, "Maybe she works for a subsidiary. Maybe she is on a different floor." He called HR. He put it on speaker. The woman on the line said, "Alina Davis." "Oh yes, I have her file right here." I smirked at the guard. "See." Then she continued, "But sir, Alina Davis was laid off in 2008 during the financial crash. She hasn't worked here in 15 years." My knees buckled. I grabbed the counter to stop myself from falling. 2008, I was 10 years old in 2008. I stammered, that can't be right. She leaves the house every morning at 6 a.m. She wears a suit. She brings home a paycheck. Where does she go? The woman on the line said, "I don't know, sir, but she is not an employee of Vanguard Holdings." I walked out of that building into the bright sunlight, feeling like the world had dissolved. If she wasn't working there, where was she? Who was paying for the house? Who paid for my car? Who paid for the private school? I went home and tore the house apart. I looked for clues. I looked for a secret bank account. I looked for a boyfriend. I looked for illegal activity. I found nothing, just her suits hanging in the closet. Then I found a keychain. It was hidden in her sock drawer. It had a small numbered brass tag on it, number 402, and a logo, Downtown Transit Locker Rental. I drove to the bus station downtown. It was a gritty, dirty place. The kind of place my mother, the executive, would never set foot in. I found the locker banks. I found number 402. I put the key in. It turned. I opened the door. Inside, there was no briefcase. There were no files. Hanging on a hook was a gray jumpsuit. It had a name patch sewn onto the pocket. Ellie. On the floor of the locker were comfortable orthopedic sneakers, worn down to the soles, a bottle of heavy-duty industrial cleaner, a pair of thick rubber gloves, and a stack of name tags from different places. Ellie, the diner shift manager. A leaner, happy maids cleaning specialist. Well, night shift security. I stood there staring at the gray jumpsuit, and the pieces of the puzzle slammed together so hard it knocked the wind out of me. She wasn't an executive. She was a janitor, she was a waitress, she was a security guard. She had been fired in 2008. I remembered that year. I was 10. I remembered Dad leaving. I remembered the fear in the air. She must have realized that she couldn't find another corporate job that paid enough to keep me in private school. She couldn't find a job that would keep us in our house. So she did what she had to do. But she couldn't bear the shame. Or maybe she couldn't bear for me to feel the shame. She didn't want her son to be the kid whose mom scrubbed toilets. She didn't want me to worry. So she kept the suit. For 15 years, she woke up at 5 a.m., she did her hair, she put on her makeup, she put on the Armani suit, she picked up the empty briefcase. She drove to the city, she parked the car, she walked to this locker. She took off the suit, she hung it up carefully so it wouldn't wrinkle. She put on the gray jumpsuit or the waitress apron. And she went to work. She scrubbed floors, she served coffee, she cleaned offices, maybe even the offices in the building where she used to be a VP. And then at 6 p.m. she came back to the locker. She washed the smell of bleach off her skin in the bus station bathroom. She put the suit back on, she put on the heels. And she came home to me. She played the role, she listened to me complain about not getting the right iPhone. She listened to me call her a workaholic. She let me believe she was choosing her career over me. But the truth was, there was no career, there was only me. Every toilet she scrubbed was for my tuition. Every table she bussed was for my car payments. Every night shift she worked was for my designer clothes. I grabbed the jumpsuit and pulled it out of the locker. A notebook fell out of the pocket. It was a small, spiral-bound notepad. It was filled with her handwriting. November 12th, tips were good today at the diner, $40 extra. I can buy Spencer the cleats he wants for soccer. January 4th, my back is killing me. The floors at the warehouse are so hard, but Spencer got an A on his report card. He looks so handsome in his school uniform, it is worth it. I am invisible so he can be seen. March 10th, Spencer yelled at me today. He said I care more about my meetings than his play. I had to work a double shift at the cleaning service to pay for the senior trip. I cried in the supply closet. I wish I could tell him, but I can't. If he knows his mom is a maid, he will be ashamed. He needs to be proud. He needs to walk with his head high. I will carry the shame for him. I fell to the filthy floor of the bus station and I wept. I cried for the arrogance of my youth. I cried for the judgment I had passed on her. I realized why she was always tired. It wasn't mental exhaustion from board meetings. It was physical exhaustion from manual labor. I realized why her hands were rough. I realized why she always smelled faintly of lemon and chemicals, which she claimed was the office air freshener. I realized why she never took me to her office. Security protocols, she would say. It was all a lie, a beautiful, tragic, heroic lie. She built a fortress of deception to protect my ego. She sacrificed her own identity, her own comfort, and her own truth, just so I wouldn't have to feel the sting of poverty. She let me hate the suit because she didn't want me to pity the jumpsuit. I drove home, I walked into her closet, I looked at the rows of suits. They weren't business attire, they were costumes. She was an actor giving the performance of a lifetime for an audience of one, me. I looked at the briefcase, I opened it. It was empty except for one photo. It was a picture of me at my high school graduation. I am smiling, holding my diploma, looking arrogant and young. On the back she had written, "My CEO, my investment, my heart." I am sharing this story because I know how easy it is to judge our parents by what we see on the surface. We see them working all the time and we call them distant. We see them tired and we call them boring. We see them struggling and we call them failures. But we don't see the locker, we don't see the uniform changes, we don't see the humiliation they endure to keep the lights on. My mother died of a heart attack because she worked 3 physical jobs at the age of 52. Her heart literally gave out from the effort of holding up the sky for me. And I didn't even say thank you, I didn't even know. I cannot fix this. I cannot go back and tell her that I would have been proud of her even if she was a janitor. I cannot tell her that I would have scrubbed floors right next to her if it meant we could be together. But I can tell you, if your mother works hard, respect her. If she comes home tired, comfort her. If she keeps secrets and trust her. You have no idea what she is hiding to keep you safe. I am going to keep the jumpsuit, I am going to frame it. I am going to hang it in my office right next to my degree. And when people ask me, is that your mother's uniform? I will say no, that is her cape, she was a superhero. Don't wait until you find the locker key. Look at your mom today, look at her hands, look at her eyes, see the sacrifice. She might not be wearing a cape, she might be wearing a waitress apron or a nurse's scrubs or a Walmart vest. But make no mistake, she is fighting a war for you. Go hug her, go tell her she is enough, go tell her she can take off the mask. Because the only thing heavier than the work she does is the silence she keeps. If this story broke you open, if it made you see your own mother in a new light, please share it. Share it for the invisible women who run the world. And in the comments, tell me, what is the hardest job your mother ever worked for you? Let's honor the labor of love. Hit subscribe, we tell the stories here that make us better humans. Thank you, Mom, for the suit, for the jumpsuit, and for the lie that saved me. Bagsla,